We are going to speak about the science of meditation. But first, we must prepare ourselves in a positive and receptive state in order to receive this type of superior teaching and make proper use of our time. This is the moment to understand the necessity of giving more opportunities to our consciousness. Normally, we live on different levels of our interior temple. There are people who always remain in the lowest levels, those concentrated exclusively on instinct and fornication, functioning primarily in the fourth and fifth centers, the instinctive and sexual centers, which they use in a negative way. Others live on the third level, the motor center, and never move beyond it. They constantly behave according to pre-established patterns, following the line of mechanical habits. They never change. They are like a train that always runs on the same tracks. This third-level type of person is so tied to his habitual patterns that he is unwilling to abandon them. Others live primarily in the first center, the intellectual center, and others in the second, the emotional center. Those who remain in the intellectual center want to reduce everything to rationalism, analysis, concepts, or arguments, and never go beyond that level. Others remain in the emotional center, dedicated to the vices of cinema, racetracks, bullfighting, and similar spectacles, a very limited and narrow world. They live enclosed and enslaved by negative emotions, never considering the possibility of escaping from such states. It is necessary to insist upon giving opportunities to our consciousness. There are various types of dreams: intellectual dreams, emotional dreams, dreams of the motor center, dreams of the sexual center, and those that are exclusively related to sexual activity. These dreams always reflect situations lived during the day. They are repetitions of daily actions. If a person lives primarily on the emotional level, their dreams will be filled with terror or madness. If they live in the sexual center, their dreams will be of lust, adultery, fornication, masturbation, and similar activities. If dreams belong to the instinctive center, they become incoherent and so submerged in the subconscious that it is difficult to understand them. Each of the 5 centers of the human machine produces its own type of dreams. In truth, we must say that only the dreams belonging to the superior emotional center, the 7th level, are worthy of attention. The same applies to the positive aspect of the 6th center, the superior mental center. Dreams from the inferior centers, motor, emotional, intellectual, or sexual, have no real importance. We must learn to distinguish from which center a dream originates. This is only possible by understanding the activities and functions of each of the 5 centers of the human machine. Dreams from the superior emotional center are the most important, because in them we find perfectly organized dramas corresponding to the daily activities of our consciousness, if we give it the opportunity to work. This happens because the ray of creation, from which we emanated, constructs everything beginning from the superior emotional center. It is through this center that diverse superior parts of our being, related to the ray of creation, manifest themselves in order to instruct us during the hours of sleep. Thus, clear, organized, and precise scenes are presented to show us our situation, our mistakes, our defects, and so on. Of course, the language of the superior emotional center is symbolic and allegorical. It corresponds to the Hermetic Kabbalah, hermeneutics, and similar esoteric sciences. It is unquestionably through this center that anyone dedicated to esoteric studies can receive correct and precise information. We have taught you to sleep with your head toward the north, lying on your back, relaxing the body, and praying, supplicating the Divine Mother Kundalini to give you esoteric instruction. We have also taught you to lie down on your right side in the lion posture. When you grow tired of that position, you may rotate to the left side, still maintaining the lion posture. Once the disciple awakens, he should not move, He must first attempt the retrospective exercise in order to remember all his dream experiences until they are clearly imprinted and registered in the brain and memory. But I must clarify, not all dreams are important. For example, pornographic or erotic dreams, especially those with nocturnal emission, are inferior dreams. Instinctive or motor dreams also have no value, as they merely reflect daily mechanical activities. Dreams related to the emotional center that are brutal or passionate also lack importance. Intellectual dreams are simply projections of the mind and are of no value. I repeat, only dreams originating from the superior emotional center should be considered. Yet even then, we must understand their meaning in order to avoid mistakes. It is necessary to interpret the symbolic messages received through the superior emotional center, because these are teachings from the White Brotherhood or from the superior part of our being. This shows us the urgent necessity of understanding the profound meaning of all symbolism, which must be deciphered precisely according to our level of development. After all clarification in relation to dreams, I should tell you we urgently need to pass through the dream or astral world to become awake in the inner superior worlds. This is possible only when we give greater opportunities to our consciousness. Normally, people act and react in response to the impacts coming from the outer world. Compare this to the example of a lake in which we throw a stone. We see how the stone produces rings that spread from the center to the edge of the lake. This is the reaction of the water to the impact coming from the stone, external world. Something similar happens to the mind and feelings. If someone hurts us with words, the impact of the word reaches the intellectual center or the thought center, and then the person reacts in a violent way. If someone offends our senses, we feel annoyed and possibly react in a brutal way. In every circumstance of life, the mind and feelings take active part, reacting consecutively in response to the external stimulus. A better response would be not to give any opportunity to the mind or feelings. It is urgent to develop a tranquil, quiet mind. This, of course, bothers the mentalists everywhere. A quiet mind is against all those who say that in the mind is the power, and that man must be a king who commands and dominates with his powerful mind. They are sophisms of the mentalists, like those who say, he who learns to manage his mind is sure to triumph, like the arrow of the old archer. Finally, at the very end, they are nothing more than sophisms extracted from those intellectual fantasies which have no esoteric form. To think negatively, this horrifies the mind positivists. But nevertheless, the negative form of the mind is the most eloquent. Not thinking is the most elevated way of thinking. When the thinking process of the mind is over, the new way arrives. This is what you need to understand. A calm mind that is at the service of the one's real being results in an efficient instrument, because the mind is made to be receptive, to serve as a receptive instrument, not as an active instrument. The mind itself is feminine, and all the centers should work harmoniously in accordance with the universal symphony of passive serenity. In these conditions, we should not permit the mind to project. We need a tranquil mind to put to the service of the different circumstances of our existence. Until a short time ago, I myself thought that emotions or sentiments came from the real being, but with investigation and experience, I have come to verify that they pertain to the ego and that they are intimately related to the inferior emotional center. The therapy we need to know profoundly in order to avoid any interior unbalance that can cause outer repercussions is that which will not permit the mind any kind of reaction. If someone hurts us, we must not permit the mind to react. Wish that there will always be someone who can hurt us in our feelings daily, so that we can in that way train our mind better to be passive. The more insults we receive, the better for our training. Because we free the science of meditation, Samael Aun Weor will have more opportunities to stop the reaction of the mind and feelings, so that they do not intervene in any circumstance of our lives. Of course, the passive state of mind, emotions, and personality demand a tremendous activity in the consciousness. This shows us that the more active the consciousness, the better for reaching its awakening, because that way the consciousness has to inevitably awaken, being in perpetual activity. Just now, Buddha Gautama Sakyamuni came to my mind. On a certain occasion, the great Buddha was sitting under a tree in profound meditation when a man arrived and began to insult the Buddha, trying to hurt him with his words. After a while, the Buddha opened his eyes and asked the man, "If someone brings you a gift and you do not accept the gift, to whom does this gift belong?" The man answered, "To me, of course." Then the Buddha said, "My brother, take your gifts. I cannot accept them," and continued to meditate. There, it is a beautiful, sublime lesson. Buddha did not permit his mind or sentiments to react under any circumstances, because he was living fully awakened in his consciousness. There was no outer reaction. That is the way we should behave, dear disciples. The school is everywhere. We have to take advantage of it and learn wisely. We have it in our houses, in our offices, in the shops or factories, in the street, everywhere, even in the temple, with our fellow students, our children, father, wife, nephews, grandsons, cousins, friends, etc. All are psychological gymnasiums. As hard as it will be, as difficult as it looks to us, it is indispensable for all of us. The secret is not to allow our mind and feelings to intervene in the practical daily activities of our lives. We should allow the consciousness to be the one who commands, directs, and works, the one who talks and executes all one's daily activities. That way, we prepare harmoniously for meditation. From the practical point of meditation, we must say that what we are looking for goes beyond mind and feelings. This is only possible if in our practical daily life we have trained ourselves intensively and prepare ourselves in our daily lives for this wonderful goal. Meditation becomes difficult when in our daily life we have not passed through a rigorous training, when we have not trained properly in the psychological gymnasium using social and family life as a training field. We should, during meditation, release the essence, the buddhata, the best inside of us, the most dignified and decent. Precisely the essence or buddhata is enclosed within the inhuman elements or psychological aggregates that constitute the I or ego. It is not possible to experience reality or truth, that which interests all of us, unless we free the essence that is trapped within the ego. If we do not, we will have to continue living in a world of dreams in the intellectual, emotional, motor, instinctive, or sexual centers. We want to escape from this mechanical dreaming. We want to experience truth. The great Kabir Jesus said, "Know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Truth is not a matter of theories or beliefs. It is not a question of accepting or rejecting, nor is it composed of concepts or opinions. Can we form opinions about truth? What is an opinion? An opinion is simply the projection of a concept, which still contains doubt and fear that the truth may be something different. What is a concept? It is merely a reasoning elaborated by the mind, one that may or may not coincide with reality. Can we assume that a concept or an opinion created by the intellect is precisely the truth? No. What is an idea? An idea may be magnificent. For example, we can form an idea about the sun. That idea may be more or less accurate, or more or less mistaken, but it is still not the sun. In the same way, we can form many ideas about truth, but they are not truth. When Jesus Christ was asked, "What is truth?" he remained silent. When Gautama Sakyamuni, the Buddha, received the same question, he simply turned his back and walked away. Truth cannot be defined with words. The same is true with a sunset. One can fall into ecstasy while watching the sun descend behind the golden splendor of the mountains, but trying to communicate that mystical experience to others is extremely difficult, because others will not feel the same. Truth cannot be communicated. truth is real only for the one who has experienced it. When we free the essence from the ego, we can experience truth. We can perceive within ourselves a transforming and powerful element, like a high-voltage current. This is possible, but we must know how to attain it. Through placing our consciousness into action, replacing mind and feeling, and allowing the integrated consciousness within us to function. We must have a passive mind, passive feelings, and a passive personality, but an active consciousness. Understanding this is indispensable and urgent if we wish to become practical meditators. Through meditation, we seek information. With a microscope, we can see the life of microbes, bacteria, cells, and microorganisms. With a telescope, we can observe celestial bodies, planets, meteorites, and stars. But meditation goes much further. It allows us to perceive truth, from something as small as an atom to something as grand as the sun, from the microcosm to the macrocosm. The most important task is to learn how to extract our consciousness from the mind and ego, to know how to liberate the consciousness from the feelings. When we dominate mind and emotion, we break chains, we escape the deadly dungeon, the psychological prison. In this way, we prepare ourselves for meditation. Before anything else, we must know how to meditate. We must learn the correct technique. In the Orient, much emphasis is placed on the Padmasana posture, with the legs crossed. But we are not Orientals, and we should meditate in accordance with our own customs and temperament. In fact, not all Orientals meditate with crossed legs. The important thing is that each person adopts the position most suitable for him. If you want to meditate with crossed legs, you may do so. We will not forbid it. But it is not the only practical position for meditation. We may sit in a comfortable chair, with arms and legs relaxed and without muscular tension. Or if you prefer, you may lie down in the position of the five-pointed star, arms and legs open, with the head pointing toward the north. You may adopt any posture you like, so long as it is comfortable. If we want to separate our consciousness from the mind, feelings, and psychological I, then the posture itself does not matter. What matters is knowing how to meditate. Do not worry about the rest. One person may choose an Oriental posture, another may choose an Occidental one, another may invent a posture. What matters is that the posture allows for comfort and relaxation. I have often taught the use of the mantra Hamsa, pronounced Jamsa. This mantra symbolizes the force which, in the Orient, fertilizes the chaotic waters of life. It is the symbol of the third logos. It is very important to know how to vocalize this mantra and understand its powers. Normally, sexual energies flow from the inside outward, a centrifugal movement. Because of this, wet dreams occur when one has erotic dreams based on the sexual center. If a person organizes his vital energies and, instead of encouraging the centrifugal current, activates the centripetal current, which makes the sexual forces rise inward and upward through transmutation, then even if erotic dreams occur, there will be no nocturnal emission. But because people do not have their sexual energies organized, nocturnal emissions occur, and the sacred sperm or seminal substance is lost. If we want to avoid such losses, we must learn to organize our sexual forces. These forces are profoundly related to breath, to prana, to life itself. There is a deep and intimate connection between sexual forces and respiration. When both are harmonized and combined, they produce profound transformations in the anatomy and psychology of the human being. What is essential is to make the sexual forces move inward and upward along a centripetal path. Only in this way is it possible to bring about a radical change in the function and work of the creative sexual energy. It is necessary to imagine the creative energy in action during meditation. We must allow it to rise to the brain in a natural and rhythmic way, using the vocalization of the mantra previously explained, without forgetting to synchronize inhalation and exhalation with perfect concentration, harmony, and rhythm. It's very important to clarify that inhalation should be deeper than exhalation, for in this way, we draw the creative energy inward. With continued practice, the moment will come when all the creative energy will flow from outside inward and upward. Directed ever more deeply from outside to within, this creative energy becomes an extraordinary instrument for the essence to awaken consciousness. I am teaching legitimate white Tantra. This is the practice used in the Tantric schools of the Himalayas and Hindustan. This is the path to ecstasy and samadhi. Call it what you will. During this practice, keep your eyes closed and avoid thinking of anything. Unfortunately, some desire may arise in the mind. We must observe such desires without identifying with them. After these desires have been fully understood in all their aspects, we are then able to disintegrate and destroy them with the spear of Eros. But if suddenly we remember an event from our life that provokes anger, what should we do? Pause the rhythmic breathing for a moment and seek to understand the event that caused that anger. Study the situation carefully in all its details. Disintegrate it with the scalpel of self-criticism. Then forget it and return to meditation and rhythmic breathing. If a memory arises from 10 or 20 years ago, do the same. Use self-criticism, apply the same scalpel, and disintegrate that memory in order to uncover the truth hidden within it. Continue the meditation and breathing without thinking, while chanting the mantra Ham Sa, lengthening the inhalation with Ham and shortening the exhalation with Sa. Repeat the mantra HHAAMMM, remaining completely calm in mind. Only in this way can the essence escape momentarily. Much has been said about the illuminating void. We will, of course, be able to experience it, and within that emptiness, we will discover the laws of nature. We will see those laws not as we normally perceive them, but as they truly are. In the physical world, we see forms only from the outside, but can we see them as they are within or from all sides? In the illuminating void, we can know truth as it is, and not as it appears to us. We can experience the truth of an ant, a world, a sun, a comet, and so on. The essence, submerged in the illuminating void, perceives with its spatial sense everything that was, is, and will be. Her radiations reach the personality and the mind. It is interesting that while the essence is immersed in the illuminating void and experiences reality, the emotional and motor centers integrate with the intellectual center, and the receptive mind captures the information received by the essence. For this reason, the information accumulates in the intellectual center, and we do not lose it when the essence leaves the void and re-enters the personality. It has been said that to obtain emptiness, we need a suction pump. We have that pump in the spine, in the Ida and Pingala channels, through which the creative energy ascends to the brain. It has also been said that we need a dynamo. We have one in the brain and in our willpower. And obviously, we need a generator. Fortunately, this is found in the procreative, sexual organs and the will. Having the method and the elements, the pump, the dynamo, and the generator, we can reach the luminous emptiness. Only through the illuminating void can we know reality, and for that, the essence must penetrate the absolute emptiness. In the ancient texts, much is said about the holy Okidanok. Omnipresent, omnipenetrating, omniscient, proceeding from the sacred Sun Absolute. But how can we truly know the holy Okidanok if we cannot penetrate the luminous emptiness? It is known that the holy Okidanok dwells within the illuminating void. It is one with the great emptiness. In ecstasy, you transcend personality. When you enter the luminous void and experience the reality of the holy Okidanok, you become one with the leaves. With the water, you live in everything that exists. The only thing needed is courage, so that you do not lose the ecstasy, because when one feels oneself dissolving into everything and being everything, one may experience the fear of annihilation. One thinks, where am I? Why am I everywhere? Reasoning arises, and one may lose the ecstasy, returning to the trap of personality. But if one has courage, one does not lose the ecstasy. At that moment, one is like a drop submerged in the ocean. Yet one also realizes that the ocean is contained in the drop. You may feel you are a bird in flight, a deep forest, a flower petal, children playing with a butterfly, an elephant, and so on. This experience can inspire terror, and the meditation may fail. It is in the sacred Sun Absolute that one comes to know the ultimate truth. In the sacred Sun Absolute, there is no time. There, the factor of time does not exist. There, the universe is one, and the phenomena of nature unfold beyond time. In the sacred Sun Absolute, we can live an instant of eternity. There, one exists beyond good and evil, transformed into a radiant being. Therefore, once a person has experienced truth, they cannot continue living as those who base their existence on belief alone. No, the one who has experienced truth feels an urgent necessity to work toward the intimate self-realization of the being, here and now. It is one thing to experience or truly live the illuminating void, and quite another to achieve the intimate self-realization. For this reason, we need to know how to meditate. To learn to meditate, it is urgent to understand meditation. I hope that you listeners will understand this and practice meditation, so that one day you may liberate the essence and experience the truth for yourselves. Whoever is able to free the essence and enter the illuminating void becomes a different kind of person. He will no longer be like others. For this, a special course is needed. Such individuals will be distinct, ready to struggle to the utmost with the sole purpose of realizing the illuminating void within themselves, here and now. In the Orient, when a disciple attains these marvelous experiences, experiencing the truth, and comes to tell his guru, the guru may strike him hard with his hands. It is clear that as the disciple has not mastered his mind, he will react against the guru, will he not? However, these disciples are already well trained. Gurus do this to balance the values within the disciple and to test how he is progressing in eliminating his defects. I hope that all of you have deeply understood what the science of meditation truly is. I hope that you will practice it intensively in your homes and in meditation centers. Do you have any questions? Please feel free to ask. Master, how can we control the fear we feel when we enter the illuminating void? It is necessary to confront fear and force it to disintegrate until it becomes cosmic dust. For that purpose, we have given you specific techniques for dissolving your defects, using the spear and the help of your Divine Mother. We have spoken about this at length in my book, The Mystery of the Golden Blooming. Samael Aun Weor.